in a world of chaos and uncertainty.
Get out of the way! Move, damn it!
Oh, that's it? That's all I got done in time for the Webtoon 2025 contest?
What the heck?
Making a webtoon. That has always been my dream as an artist. It's what I got into in the first place, and it's especially one of my big goals for 2025. And obviously, I failed. Maybe? At least for submitting it into the contest. In this video, I'm going to talk about where I went wrong in hopes that it could possibly help you on your webtoon making journey. Let us rewind to January. At this point in time, I was trying to get a batch of emotes for my Etsy shop done so I can solely focus on my webtoon in the upcoming months. Do I think this was a good move? Yes. However, mistake number one. I vastly underestimated how long making a webtoon will take. I thought I could plan out a full story, write it, do character design, and draw the first 3 episodes in approximately 4 months. I don't know about you, but I can't work that fast, so I don't know why I thought I could. Delusion at its finest. Not just that, but I even did some art practice studies before I even got started with the webtoon, which took up even more time. I did that from around the end of January to the beginning of February. With that said, basically, make sure you know your limits of what you can and cannot do. Also, how fast you work so you can plan accordingly. Never had experience in writing? Well, then it's definitely going to take longer than a professional who's been writing for years. A sketch of a single character takes you 1 full day? Yeah, don't expect you can finish an episode with 40 plus drawings in a month. This was, I would say, the number one leading mistake that led to every other mistake in this list. It's just, you gotta have good time management, I don't know. Now we are in February, but guess what? I want to change the story. I wanted to work on a completely new one from scratch. Yeah, that's mistake number 2. Okay, before I get misunderstood, I don't necessarily think that shifting gears to a new story idea is bad, especially when you're in a very beginning stage. However, for me, a new story idea that I have no ideas for a contest that I need to get done in 3 months? What was I thinking? Well, here was my thought process. The original story I was going to work on is like my precious baby, and I really didn't want to rush it and make sure the world building and characters are super fleshed out. Also, I was extremely delusional and convinced myself that I was going to win, which meant I would have to sign the publishing contract, and just in case there's issues with rights and all that stuff, I didn't want to sacrifice my favorite story. In general, it was a good call to focus on a story I don't have too much sentimental attached to. Since this is my first webtoon, there's a lot I'm learning, so I would rather have all my mistakes in this small project than for my big one. Still though, because the story was brand new, I had to plan from scratch, which took even more time that I don't have. I knew I didn't have to plan the story in detail, but I wanted a general idea of the beginning, middle, and end. Also, I want the fourth arc to be pretty fleshed out, or else I wouldn't know what I need to do in my first 3 episodes. In conclusion, make sure you know for sure what story you want to work on so you're not like me, scrambling last minute for ideas. Back to looking at the timeline, we are still in early February. While I was doing my art practice sketches at this time, I was also planning this new story idea. So far, I had a rough idea for the concept. It was going to be a romance action, enemies to lovers, hero versus villain, and secret identities love story. Ooh, everything I like, thrown in one. While working on that, I decided to do some character designing. Yay, the fun part. I had a good idea for what they looked like in my head, which made this process faster, but it was still difficult when it came to designing the side characters. I'm not even 100% on the hero's design, but I had to move on. I was really feeling the pressure. One thing that I believe I did right was making turnaround heads for the main characters. I should have done their clothes too, but to save time, I moved on. It is now the end of February. I decided to work on the story's logo cause why not? Around this time as well, I think, to be honest, I'm just guessing from my memories the time frame for all this stuff. I almost finished my more detailed planning for the first story arc. You know what? We might actually be in March already. Crap. Anyways, it was now time to write the first 3 chapters. But first, in order to make sure I write the script well for a webtoon format, I had to study some webtoons, which leads to my next mistake. Not understanding the webtoon format, paneling, dialogue, etc. I used to be so on track with webtoons, I would make sure to be there daily for the new episodes, but now I go on the app once every couple months, binge read my favorite series, and then leave again. So you could say I became less familiar with how webtoons looked. So just in case, before jumping straight into writing my script, I studied some webtoons. I mostly read Killer Peter, Mafia Nanny, and Elsie, but also scrolled through some other stories as well. This once again ate up my time. Don't get me wrong, it's not because you shouldn't study how other webtoons do things. If anything, that's actually extremely important and helpful to do. But why I consider this a mistake on my end was that I was studying this stuff last minute when I should have been on it since January at most. Time has passed and it is now mid-March. I was really feeling the pressure here, but I told myself, I'll be fine as long as I get the script and storyboarding done all in March, so I only have to draw in April. And oh boy, was I delusional once again. Anywho, I wrote the script and did the storyboarding. Ready to see it? Bam! I know, it's hard to make out what's going on, but I understood it. Anyways, it was now time to work on the actual canvas. I bought Clip Studio Paint for this because it has webtoon tools and 3D models, and it just happened to be on sale, which folded my delusions into thinking this was truly meant to be, and that I will hold the 150,000 grand prize money. I thought that to make April easier on me, I will prepare every panel with 3D models ready on them. Cause this will surely be a quick process, right? Wrong! It took 10 days to set up one episode. 10 days! I finished on April 1st, I think? Granted, episode 1 was the longest episode with 92 panels, but still, I thought I could get all 3 episodes set up by April. It was already April! Once again, I heavily miscalculated on time. It was already taking me time to get used to Clip Studio Paint, so this really started making me doubt myself. Even so, I moved on. I decided, instead of prepping for the 2 episodes, to just start drawing episode 1 and see how long it would take me. But I was starting to wake up on my delusions from this moment onwards. So here we go. First panel. I got the background done. Thank God for Clip Studio Asset Library. And then I started drawing the people. And these people are just extras, never meant to be seen again, so I was drawing whatever. Tell me why, after I finished it, I hated it. I looked at it and went, nope. There's no way this is going to win $150,000. I was going to leave it alone because I told myself that there was no way I could finish an episode if I keep redoing every panel. But I gave in and redid it. Here's the before and here's the after. It is much better. But I still didn't like it. I really didn't like it. But I did move on this time. I had to. I was losing time. I was feeling super unmotivated, but kept pushing because my delusions were still there a teeny tiny bit. But these next panels were my final straw. So to give some explanation to what's happening in this scene, a crowd is running away from this big bad guy who's coming at them with a hammer. This bad guy, I had never drew him before, and I was winging it. I used the face models to adjust it to how I imagined he looked like. However, I have never drawn at this point a male character who is older and has a more prominent jaw. So when I say I was winging it, I was winging it. I heavily relied on tracing the 3D model, but that just ended up making the character look out of my style, which leads me to my last mistake. Not figuring out your style / figuring out what kind of style you want to use for your webtoon. 3D models are here to assist, and that's good and all, but because I was rushing it, I heavily relied on it too much, making my style feel lost and not there. It didn't feel like my art anymore. At this point is where I decided to give up. I wanted my work to feel like it was my work, so I would rather spend some time working on my style and figuring out how to draw older characters, different face features, how to shade and color the art. It is important to understand that yes, over time your art will improve and change. Just look at any creator's first episode compared to the last, you will see how much they've grown. But also it is important to not watch anything you're super extremely unhappy with, cause it will end up making you lack any passion you have for the project. So I decided to stop working on the webtoon around the beginning of April and focus on other things like my teaser shop and to draw for fun. Even though throughout these past couple months kind of made me doubt my skills as an artist, I am not gonna give up on this webtoon. I'm just taking a pause on it. I think this story is worth something, so I'm gonna do it. Just not in time for the contest. I hope to get 1 episode finished this year. I hope. Anyways, let me know if you're working on a webtoon. Did you submit it to the contest? Maybe you didn't finish it in time as well? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I guess I'll go now. Bye bye.